Hello everyone, welcome back to Diving into Doctor Who here on It's a Wonderful Podcast. Oh, we have another little bit of a lesser episode to start us off, but that is before we get into what really acts as part one of the finale storyline for Series 2, the first series of the 10th Doctor era. Jeannine, we've almost reached the end of this first new series to you as well, which has to constantly be reiterated over the course of our discussions on Series 2, I feel. But do you understand what I was saying at the back end of the last episode of Diving into Doctor Who, when obviously we were talking about Love and Monsters, and I think we were trying to be as fair about it as we possibly could have been.
Yes.
Given its very, very interesting concept, very interesting creativity, commendable creativity, but fairly poor execution and silliness of what it was doing. Do you understand what I say when I said, how did they manage to put out that episode and then this first episode we're talking about today back to back and have people still excited to watch a finale after those two? It's a bit weird, isn't it? Given, obviously, we are starting with Fear Her, which is, again, another fairly infamous episode from this era of Doctor Who for such Doctor Who fans.
Yes, for being a bit lackluster right before some intense, interesting things in this finale. I totally get what you were saying. I think maybe they were banking on the strong concept, like, pulling people in. It has kind of a bit of a...
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Do we think this is a strong concept in Fear Her?
I mean, in terms of, like, it feels like it has a bit of a horror style as other episodes have. And, I think anything getting to see the Doctor and Rose right after not having seen them, I guess, maybe would feel more relevant than the week prior or the episode prior. So I don't know. I mean, I thought it was kind of a cool idea. But the execution maybe let it down a little bit. So maybe they thought, oh, this is kind of a cool stakes filled kind of idea. So maybe this will get people interested, considering we got very little Doctor and Rose last week. So
Okay, I kind of understand that. I know we've jumped straight in to the episode there as well, and I feel like this is good. We should be doing this. I'll put the little title card that we put up if you are watching today's episode, of course, that we have. I'll give a very, very brief synopsis, as I only have a very, very brief synopsis for this episode. In London in 2012, the Doctor and Rose set off to see the Olympics, only to find terror in the most ordinary place. And it is a very ordinary place. It is a boring, run-of-the-mill, cheapy street set that we're on here. And that is one of the things that I don't think are particularly commendable about this episode. It's another one that feels
the budget.
Yes, you feel the budget constraints in Fear Her, I think. Also with the effects of the particular, or one particularly notable effect, I suppose, in this episode. Let's just call it the Scribble Monster, which does look like something from children's television. Which I know we say that Doctor Who is a show for everybody. It's a universal show. But it isn't on children's networks, is it?
I mean, I would see
this is a BBC show, not a CBBC show, for example.
And the episode prior had a monster invented by, like, a kid fan. This Scribble
Yes.
monster felt like that should be the monster invented by a kid fan.
Well, I suppose in the episode, the Scribble monster is kind of
Kind of.
invented by a
Yeah.
child,
Yeah.
in context of the episode itself. But what this episode also tries to do, and maybe this is why it leaves a little bit more of a sour taste in my mouth than it may be doing for you, is it's just being a bit, "Oh, let's get excited about the upcoming Olympics." About it
Yeah,
all.
and
And
so
you
that's what I was gonna
understand
say.
why
I
it's
think
doing that. It's obviously supposed to be in the
yeah,
near future. This is obviously
yeah,
2006 when
12
this is coming out,
yeah, yes. So,
and it's
looking
set
ahead
in
to not
2012.
yes, and I think maybe it feeling like a grounded time and location maybe would be of interest to people, as it's not some crazy alien planet way in the future or going way back in the historical past.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe the near future of it they felt like would kind of, entertain people or get them like, "Oh, that's kind of fun to think about," kind of thing. So
I can tell you exactly what it really was. It was the BBC going, "Oh, we're getting the Olympics. Don't forget to in 6 years' time to tune into the BBC for all our Olympic coverage." That's what's going on here. I
oh my
just know
god.
that's what's going on here. You can just
Yeah.
tell that's what's going on here. Let's get excited about the 2012 London Olympics. I remember the run up to the 2012 London Olympics. It
Okay.
lasted 5, 6 years. It
Oh my
didn't last
god.
1 year. It was let's get excited, let's get the flags out, let's get the Olympic rings out, let's all
Yeah.
start watching random Olympic sports. I remember people coming to my high school and giving us lessons on how to be referees for the game of handball because it was an Olympic sport. Nobody had ever conceptually heard of the sport of handball. It's a
Oh my
nonsense
god.
sport. But why? But they did this just because it was the run up to the Olympics, and I
Well,
don't know. I,
now
I like the Olympics. I do. I actually like the
yeah.
Olympics as a whole idea. I really, really am a fan.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I know what this episode was, and it was
Okay.
just, oh, let's get excited.
Yeah, well, now that you say that, it definitely feels like some type of, studio note to, like, make an episode around this to kind of help with the build-up to
Yeah.
the Olympics.
That's what it was. That is all it was. And I give Tennant and Billy Piper all the credit for being quite noticeably more comedic in this episode than I think they have
Yeah.
been. They've been obviously quite comedic throughout series two, but they're being really quite goofy in this episode.
Yeah.
And actually, strangely enough, in the next episode as well, which is the part one of the finale, there's a whole thing where the
Yeah.
Doctor starts singing Ghostbusters, and it's just a bit nonsense, but it's quite funny. He's very sarcastic. He's very
Yeah.
sort of sardonic, um, and I like all that. I just think that the cheapness just oozes from the screen to
Yeah.
me in Fear
Yeah.
Her. And I don't mind the concept. I don't think it goes anywhere near as deep as it needs to with the
Yeah.
whole we have a dead abusive father situation that it's got going on. Like, you can't just bring that up and
That
then
up.
go
Yeah.
nowhere with it.
We're with it. Exactly. And also this loneliness, not just from the alien in this episode, but this little girl feeling this kind of,
Yeah.
loneliness. Um, that was something that I think definitely could have been better executed in terms of, uh, you know, driving that point home or learning a lesson from it or, um, the doctor lending a supportive hand in the with the mother and helping her figure out, how to help her daughter in that way. The mother in this episode was completely useless, like, she was driving me nuts because she
Yeah.
was just so aloof about all this crazy stuff happening. Um, But yeah, they delve into some pretty dark subject matter and don't really dig too deep into it, which felt
No.
kind of like a waste. So, yeah, when I say like the concept I think is strong, there are some really interesting deep, psychological and emotional layers there. And I like that it feels a bit like this horror thing, like kids
Yeah.
just disappearing and nobody knows how it's happening, and it's like the most unsuspecting thing in person you would expect. So I
Yeah.
liked the whole idea of all of that. But like you said, this aspect of an abusive father, this little girl who feels so alone that this alien was drawn to her out of their loneliness and
Yeah.
connected with her on that front. Um,
That she has to now draw the people in her neighborhood, other children in her neighborhood, in order to sort of feed this need for other things around you, other people around you,
People
to
around,
not
yeah,
feel lonely, needs to feed this sort of community atmosphere. She draws these people and they
they
disappear
disappear.
into
Yeah,
the drawing. They become the drawing, which
yeah.
is a fascinating idea. It's
Yeah,
Dorian
mhm,
Gray, isn't it?
yeah,
Essentially, you
mhm,
become the piece of art.
yeah,
And then on
yeah,
the alternative of that, or on the flip side of that, you've got the terrifyingly hellish drawing of her fairly recently deceased abusive father in the wardrobe. It
yeah,
looks like this enormous sort of terrifying demon man.
yeah.
And red eyes, and it's emanating red light. He's got
Yes,
this
and
ridiculously loud,
screaming at
growling
her.
voice.
Yeah, screaming at her, trying to get at her, and this whole big ominous thing, and then it doesn't really go too far
No.
into
And
that fear and what this thing means, because they try to end up
he's
kind
a
of turning that
drawing.
into the big bad at the end of the episode.
Yeah, and it
Yeah,
shouldn't be. He's a
yeah.
drawing that's coming alive as opposed to the live people that became drawings. He's kind of like the opposite. And
The opposite, yes, and it's like, how does that
we don't
even work? Like, I
how
don't
does
know
that
that we
even work? It's
really.
never quite explained.
Yeah, yeah. So, again, like, such an interesting kind of idea. They set up some really, kind of dark, human, uh, issues, and yeah, they don't really execute them all that well. Because yeah, like, I think I immediately thought of, The Witches, because there's a bit where a witch
Yeah,
puts a little girl in the painting, and she's
yeah,
gone missing, and her parents look at this painting and notice that she's in there, and they see her growing up and they see her getting old until she just becomes an old woman in the painting and dies. And that was always kind of like this spooky thing seeing as a kid, like, oh my gosh, imagine just being trapped in this painting and you can't do anything. So such a kind of creepy, fun horror feeling concept. But yeah, the layers of it that could have been even
yeah,
more interesting were not well executed.
yeah. And it's okay, it's interesting to have a creature here that ultimately is this alien being that has inhabited this little girl
Yeah,
and again is a an alien that has billions of siblings and needs to be close to them and has gotten himself lost
yeah.
basically,
Hmm.
and needs to find things in which to love so as to not feel lonely, and it's latched onto the loneliest other person it could possibly find, which was this
Yeah,
poor lonely little girl.
yeah.
Now, what do we get from Chloe Webber, this poor lonely little girl, other than the fact that she's lonely? Nothing at all. So
No.
she's a very one note character, played admittedly by, I'm not one to rag on child acting too much. I'm really not. I grew up with Harry Potter, I can deal with
Yeah,
it. I can
yeah.
deal with child acting perfectly fine. This is just so monotone. It's noticeably monotone. It's the most monotone child acting you've ever seen in your entire life, no
Yeah,
matter
and
what
I guess
note is supposed to be coming out of Chloe Webber's mouth. It's the same drone that this girl is using, and I'm
yeah,
sorry she might be like 12, 11. I don't mean to, it's not your fault. I'm not saying that. It's just
yeah,
what's going
because
on.
yeah, I mean, she could have gotten a note that, like, "You are not yourself, you are inhabited by this creature," or whatever, so you're not going to be speaking in any kind of human way. So maybe that was kind of a note, and that was her interpretation of that. Maybe she was kind of told to speak this way to show this, that she's kind of being puppeted almost by this other entity.
I mean,
But
yeah,
yeah, it does fall a little bit flat. And um yeah, you're right as well, like, that we don't really get to know anything about her, so maybe if we had seen her try to play with the other kids or something, and them ignoring her, or we don't wanna play with a girl because it's like, we see a bunch of kinda little boys at first who get
yeah,
so maybe it's a case of, setting up a scenario where we see why she is so lonely, um that maybe her, the past with her father has made her afraid to go outside, or maybe the kids
yeah.
are bullying her or something, and don't want to play with her, something. But we're just told that, oh, she's lonely and she just stays in her room and draws all day. And she's not acting normal either. Like, her mom is seeing what is happening, that she's drawing these kids and they're getting sucked into these drawings. So when she's on the street and she hears like the old woman of the neighborhood speculating about it, and being
Yeah,
scared and worried and seeing what's happening, she fully knows it's her daughter who's doing it, but she has a monotone ass reaction herself. She's like,
yeah,
"Oh, do you wanna come down and watch some TV?" "No, I'm drawing, leave me alone." "Oh, well, I think it would be fun for you." "Just leave me alone." "Okay, I'll go." Like that way, like, your daughter is
not
doing,
much of a
like,
fight.
right? Your daughter is sucking people into her drawings and disappearing all these kids, and you're just like, okay," and just listening in the corner when people are, like, freaking out on the streets about their missing children, and you're just looking, like, from your porch, like, "Oh, what's going
I mean,
on?"
you do
Like,
wonder what she thought, what she was thinking would happen. And I think the doctor says as much, says this as much. He says, like,
yeah.
What exactly was your plan here? If we hadn't have turned up, we being the Doctor and Rose hadn't have
Yeah,
turned up, what were you going to do here? Like, were you just going to let this keep happening
continue.
and
Yeah,
not really do anything about
not
anything?
stop
Like,
her. Yeah, yeah.
what's the game plan here? And she's got no answer to this. And
No.
that obviously it's all okay because the Doctor ends up realizing or coming to understand what exactly is going on here, that this alien is inhabiting this girl. But I'd also like to point out, I mean, I think it was a good point you made about, yes, this alien is inhabiting Chloe, so maybe the acting note was, you're not yourself at this point.
Yeah, yeah.
But even later on in the episode, when the alien
Has
comes
left
out
her
of her, is she really being that much more human and
animated, and
emotional and
yes.
animated? No.
No,
And
not
let's also point out, please, that this lack of human animation here is completely opposed in this episode by, I don't even know his name, the man doing the tarmac from the council, who is one of the most over animated side characters we've had all series,
yeah.
who's constantly shouting about the council and how good his job is filling in potholes in the tarmac.
Yeah.
And he looks very official in his nice, bright, shiny high-vis vest. And he looks very, very,
Yeah, it's kinda
you
silly
know,
how they work him
thorough,
into the plot.
diligent. Why
Yes.
what's he do why is he there just to be cartoonish and speak about, I'm the lifeblood of the local council? It's bizarre.
Yeah, and then there's a bit of, like, some racist element there with him, and something somebody says to him, like, he gets accused of something to do with the missing kids, like, some white neighbor lady, like, accuses him, and he's, like, a black
He
man, so it's
does,
just
yeah,
more
and
like
he thinks it's racist, but she's not actually talking about him as a black person, she's talking
yeah,
about him as a council
just
worker,
so
and it's like the
yeah,
council are taking the children away, but his first thought is like, what did you just
What,
say?
me? Why me? Yeah. Yes. They work him into the plot in a really weird way, and he's really only there to, I guess, maybe lend some comedy to the episode. But Rose ultimately finds like this creature spaceship in the street, like hidden in one of the potholes. So this man
Yes.
going on about filling potholes is only really there so that Rose can find this alien spaceship and help them get home to resolve this whole situation.
And then he shouts
Um,
at her very harshly for pickaxing up one of the newly filled in potholes to find this spaceship. And
yeah.
it's a little bit unnecessary. And his voice is a
Ye
bit grating.
I
And
mean, yeah, these are 2 actors who I recognize from Love Actually, and, the black guy, he's the friend of the obnoxious white guy, Colin, who goes to America to sleep with girls, so he's the guy
yes,
who's kind of trying to talk Colin out of it, and then the mother is, like was Hugh Grant's, like, somebody who
one of the
worked for Hugh
people.
Grant as the prime minister, who basically is one of the people who says that poor woman was fat. Like, so I already just don't like her.
Yes, I see.
Because
Well,
this is my
here is
context
here
for
is another, Janine. Here is another installment of you'll always recognise somebody in Doctor
her.
Who.
Yes. So yes, this woman fat shaming the woman in Love Actually.
And that
And
Martine McCutcheon. In,
yes. So she already it just doesn't have a good track record with me. And then her just being
there.
this complacent mother who just doesn't do anything. Because there's even a certain point where they realize what she's doing. The doctor and Rose are like, okay, we need to stop her while we figure this out. Take all her markers away, take all her color
Yeah.
pencils away.
Well, she doesn't
And
do
so
that.
they and yes, and then Rose tells her to watch her. And then Rose is watching the Olympics, and then the mother just comes down the stairs and stands next to her. And she's like, "What are you doing? Like, you're supposed to be watching her." And then, as soon as the mother like walked away from her daughter, she drew away all the people in the stadium at the Olympics, and
Yes.
they're watching this on the TV as all the spectators disappear,
Yeah.
thousands of people, and Rose is like, "Bitch, I told you to watch her. Like, what are you doing down here?" Like, this woman
Stop getting
sucks.
so excited about we know it's the opening ceremony. We know
Yes.
the Olympic torch is going to be running past this street any moment
Yeah.
now. And that's the kind
Yeah.
of whole point as to why they're there.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
exciting that the
To
Olympics is
watch.
going.
Yeah. So this lady just sucks. Like, she's not proactive in helping in this situation. No,
No,
she's just standing and staring, and oh, she's just driving
no.
me nuts. So it's up to Rose and the doctor to try to kind of figure this out. So they
Well,
um
to be fair, it's mainly up to Rose because at one point the
Well,
doctor
the
himself
doctor
gets
gets sucked
drawn.
into a drawing, but he's the one who ultimately, like, lays the girl down and kind of does a bit of a therapy session with her and
Yeah.
listens to her talk, listens to the alien talk through her to try to understand. So this feels like, series 1 Doctor to me, this really trying to understand your
Okay.
enemy type thing. So I enjoyed that scene where he sits on the bed,
Okay.
he has the girl kind of lay down in like a therapy type thing, and is just listening to the alien discuss why it's doing this, why it's so lonely, what its kind of what its world looks like, that they are used to
Maybe the
having
10th Doctor
billions.
is becoming more well-rounded in your eyes, even in this episode.
Yes,
This is
definitely, because I was feeling like, a quiet moment where he's not kind of running around being silly and quippy or even very egocentric. He's just sat there quietly wanting to hear and understand why this alien is doing this. What does your world look like? Oh, you are doing this because you're lonely. You're used to having billions of family members around you. And now that you've crash landed here, you have nobody. And so you found the next most loneliest person, this little girl, to inhabit, um, because she understands what you're feeling, and you can use her to bring more people to you.
yeah.
So I like that he laid her down and listened to, you know, what was going on instead of, trying to lock her up or, go to
Well,
extremes
it's
to
always gonna
figure it
be
out.
about
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know that I really felt like I got a scene that felt like I'm trying to understand my enemy in this thing. This thing
Okay.
is doing terrible things. Instead of trying to defeat it or fight it, let's try to understand it first and see where it's coming from, and then maybe we can find an in to stopping it. And so I like that that was really kind of a focal point in figuring out how to defeat this thing, especially because it was
Okay.
inhabiting the body of a little girl. So,
I like that.
um
I like that then. Perhaps we can look at Fear Her more for that side of character
yeah.
building for the Doctor himself at the moment, as opposed to it
Yeah.
actually as an episode on its own. Because also, not only do we not do we have another installment of You'll Always Recognise Someone from Doctor Who, we
Yeah.
also have another installment of Let's Separate the Doctor and Rose again.
Yes, and that's what we've been talking about all series, that to me, it felt like it was building to some kind of, ending of this partnership, because there have been several episodes where Rose has been distressed and separated from the Doctor, and he has to save her, in several episodes. And so the fact that in both of these episodes we're getting them separated,
Yeah.
in really kind of difficult situations, um, it really feels ominous, like, "Ugh, we're coming to the end of something here." So yeah,
Well, in
when the
this one,
Doctor
it's almost Rose saving the Doctor from
Yes,
being
exactly.
put in the
So
drawing room.
it is kind of the format that they've been peppering throughout the series, but instead of Rose being the one in distress, she's the one who has to figure things out.
Yeah.
And again, it feels like series 1 where Rose is, kind of showing her capabilities, especially in situations where she feels like she needs the Doctor or depends on the Doctor. She ends up stepping it up and figuring it out on her own. So,
Yeah.
um, that was like what I loved about Rose in the first place when we met her, like, her kind of being stuck, not feeling like she had purpose, and then gets thrown into an insane situation all of a sudden and really adapts to it well, and, problem solves incredibly well to be super helpful to the Doctor, who should have, far more experience than her, but she's able to lend something to him that he needs. So, kind of getting back to her really living up to this purpose that she feels she's found also was
Yeah.
good to see in this episode. So I did find kind of development within our two main characters more than um anything interesting happening in the story itself,
Yeah.
out of this episode.
But I think it's obviously much more clear for you to see now, having watched having watched all but one of series two's
Yeah.
episodes now, that it is a very mixed bag in terms of
Yeah.
kind of overall episode to episode
Mhm. Yeah.
quality. Like you might get good stuff in every single episode, and I think even these last two were getting some things in there that we can go, you know
Yeah.
what, fair enough, we like that. But
Yeah.
you are getting such high highs sometimes with things like the girl in the fireplace,
Mhm.
with the impossible planet
Yeah.
stuff. I do like that Cybermen two-parter. I
Mhm.
know that maybe I'm a bigger fan of that than you were. Um, even some of the episodes very, very early on in the
Yeah.
season, you know, but it's a strange one, and I think in the wider context of the 10th Doctor era, Series 2 is the weakest series of the 10th
Oh,
Doctor's era.
okay. Okay.
It is. Once
Okay.
we get into, like, there's series 3, obviously we've got coming up fairly soon because we only do have one episode of series 2 left.
Yeah.
But series 3, the second half of series 3 is banger after banger after banger for like 6 or 7 episodes,
Dang,
and
okay.
then it doesn't let up until the end of the 10th Doctor era,
Okay.
really. There's some slightly lesser in there, but we're talking like pound for pound, the quality is just getting better and better and better.
Okay.
And even in the first half of series 3 as well, there's great episodes in there. it's not the second half of series 3, but I think when
Yeah.
we get to that second half of series 3, you'll understand why it may be.
Okay.
It might even be like the kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 run of episodes might be just like pound for pound the best run of this whole
Oh,
era
okay.
of episodes. It's very, very good. So, given sort of, I mean, that's my opinion, but given that, obviously we're not quite sure, you're not quite sure where series 2 is going to
Yeah.
end up. We will shortly be getting into Army of Ghosts, which is this first part of
Yeah.
the finale storyline. Torchwood finally comes into play as
Yeah.
an institute. Obviously, we'll remember that being set up by Queen Victoria, as played
Yeah.
by Shirley Valentine,
Yeah.
Pauline Collins in Tooth and Claw after she
Yeah.
battled a werewolf.
Yes.
And didn't like the Doctor very much at all,
No.
so decided to set this up, or set Torchwood up to stop aliens from invading Britain, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of the situation that's going on there. But how does Fear Her end? Well, it ends with the Doctor being the last Olympic torchbearer, inexplicably, after the chosen Olympic torchbearer
Gets struck by
fell over.
lightning or something.
Like,
I think they said a lightning hit him or something, and he's not doing well, and he collapses, so we need someone to
yes,
finish. Yeah.
which, which speaks to me like, has the Doctor struck this man with lightning so
So
he
he
can
can
go and be the torchbearer?
I mean, I would not put it past him, particularly this version of the Doctor.
I feel like
But
that's
yeah,
what happened when it was all figured out, and the little alien species that I forget the name of now was allowed back into its own space pod and is
yeah,
able to go, and all the children who were missing come back
come
from the
back.
drawings, and Chloe's fine again, and it's all very nice and good as it always
Yeah,
tends to be
yeah,
at the end of an episode of Doctor Who. Maybe it won't be so nice pretty soon,
yeah,
Jeannine, but
I
it is
know.
a finale we're getting to.
Yeah.
But so the Doctor comes back. Oh, where's the Doctor? Oh, where's the Doctor? Wait a minute. Who's that on the television now carrying the Olympic
Carrying the
torch?
torch.
What's he
Yeah.
doing there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like also the resolution with the little girl ultimately, speaks to kind of what we were saying with this abusive father storyline.
Oh,
After the
yes.
alien
There's a reason we've not talked about it because it isn't talked about.
Exactly. The alien leaves her, but yet somehow this drawing of her abusive father in the closet is still alive and trying to like come out. And so we see her, all all the kids have returned, the alien has left her, the curse is broken, whatever. Her and her mom go to leave the house and then they're locked in because this drawing is coming to life to get them. And they huddle up by the door. Rose can't get in to help them. And so they start singing this song that like the mother would sing to her.
A lullaby.
Yeah, and
Bear in
that's
mind, this
enough.
girl's 12,
Yeah.
not 3.
And right. And so whatever for whatever reason this song is enough to make this demon thing that's been drawn disappear. And
Yeah.
that's it.
It's
That's
supposed to be a bit of a kind of the power of love, isn't it?
kind of
Comes to
thing. Yeah, yes,
and it's
and
just
mother and
like,
daughter. The mother finally, like, seeing the
okay.
loneliness in her daughter and telling her she'll never be alone again. "I'm sorry that I failed you, I'll do better," kind of resolution.
The
Um,
power of love as a resolution has to be done very well for it to work because
to for you to
it
feel
can be
something,
such a
yeah,
cop out.
yeah,
And with no depth at all, it ain't gonna work, and it
yeah,
doesn't
it
work.
doesn't.
It's just
No.
okay. The alien I can understand needing the power of love because we at least got a scene of the alien explaining themselves
Yeah,
in terms of they're lost from their billions of siblings and
yeah,
what have you.
yeah,
But But, oh, come on. I don't why bring up
Yeah,
this extra plot for it to
just
just
not do.
be I mean, you've got a storyline here that could have been so impactful
Mhm,
in a sort of abusive father storyline. Quite dark,
yeah,
very, very dark,
mhm,
really. Very, very
yeah,
dark.
yeah.
So be bold enough to go impactful with it.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it's quickly resolved with them huddled by their front door. We see the light of it, like, trying to leave the room and come down the stairs, but of course, budgetary constraints, we're not gonna see it.
Yeah,
Um,
well, we see
and
some
then we're
pure
just led to believe them singing this lullaby together quells this thing into disappearing and everything's fine. Then that's when we move on to, like, okay, everyone's come back, where's the doctor? And then we get
oh,
this
there
fun
he
little
is.
scene seeing him on the TV lighting the torch. All's right
Yes.
with the world, la-di-da. So, yeah, I mean, I
Yes.
think in theory, an interesting concept that could have had some, really fun horror elements, could have leaned into some really, poignant emotional stuff. Um, so aside from getting a little bit, character stuff and development from Rose and the Doctor, this episode wasn't
Yeah.
wasn't giving a ton. Yeah.
Yeah. One little interesting point, and I say interesting, it's quite darkly interesting point of this episode is that I believe it is the only episode of Doctor Who that has to be edited due to originally having someone in it who we don't put on the television anymore, basically.
Oh,
Um,
really?
a newsreader, there was because obviously the Olympics is based
Yeah,
on the
mhm.
news. The original newsreader, a very long-standing BBC newsreader, um, was found guilty, pled guilty, in fact, I think, to child sexual misconduct, essentially.
Oh my
So
god.
so we don't show him anymore,
Ooh,
obviously, and
okay.
it had to be re-edited to that, and I believe it's got the unfortunate, but also kind of, the edited it, they kind of
Yeah, took that person out,
took
around
it
it,
in,
yeah.
worked around it. The unfortunate moniker of being the only episode of Doctor Who having to be edited to edit out an actor essentially
Yeah,
due to their
yeah.
personal life,
Wow.
disturbances.
Oh my
I
gosh.
suppose that's a very
Yikes.
wishy-washy way of saying what I was trying to say then, but
Yeah,
it made sense,
okay.
didn't
Well, I'm
it?
glad they did that. Yeah, good.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyway, let's move on. Army of Ghosts. We have now, Jeannine. This is the first part of the finale two-part. What do we think of Torchwood? I'm going to give a quick little synopsis, if I can find one, of course, on Army of Ghosts. Now, here it is. Thank you for waiting there.
Yes,
Yes.
of course.
Rose and the Doctor return to modern-day London to find a mysterious epidemic of ghosts all over the world. As the Doctor searches Torchwood Tower to find answers, something sinister lurks in the building. Ooh, it's nice to have
Ooh.
ghosts, isn't it? Even though,
Yeah.
spoilers, they don't end
They're
up
not
being
ghosts.
ghosts, but it's
No.
nice to have ghosts here.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have Jackie back with the Doctor and Rose.
Yeah. Yeah, Jackie is a big part of this episode, and, yeah, I knew things were gonna go pretty bad when it opened so joyfully, like
It
Rose
does
was.
open very ominously, actually, doesn't it? Yes, it does. I would like to get your opinion on this, the cold open Rose narration that we get of the episode.
Yeah. It definitely was speaking to the feelings that I'd been having all series of, the ending of this partnership, something happening to Rose, because clearly, I think we all know the format. I just never knew the when of, Billie
Yes.
Piper's exit from the show. So I have no clue when she leaves. Um, so just
Well,
what these
technically, you
episodes had.
still don't.
Yeah,
You still
exactly.
technically, you still don't
I
know where.
still don't, yes. So everything that happens that plays into this concept in my mind of, separating them, making their relationship just have these dire stakes to them, um, all feel like it's building to something happening to Rose. So an opening with this very ominous narration of her talking about, um, knowing she's going to die and stuff like that. I'm like, "Wait, is this it?
Yes.
Is this how I brace myself?" I'm, freaking out. Um
It is basically, this is the story of how I die, is how Rose in the narration frames it.
Yeah, it is speaking. So, yeah, I'm definitely a bit on edge about what is going to happen because, I think I found in the last few months of us covering this second series, that people don't really like Rose, but I'm very much attached to her as I was to Eccleston.
People
And
think
so
Rose
my
is overrated because she was the first.
first one,
That's
yeah.
the issue.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
people
Um
like Rose, people are just trying to be too clever to like Rose.
Okay. I just don't like her clumpy eyelashes. But, um,
But it was 2006, and that's what
I
people
know.
want.
Very true. Very true. Um, but yeah, I think I would be struggling to lose Rose just as much as I was struggling to lose Eccleston. So, that
Okay.
was a big part of it. As I explained when we started this series, that was my biggest struggle for not moving forward from the series one, was because I
Yeah.
just couldn't bear losing this character that I totally fell in love with, and this partnership with him and Rose that I fell in love with. So
Well,
now
well,
that I'm
let's
just
ask this
now
question. Let's ask this question as well then, because obviously this narration does a lot of heavy lifting in kind of telling
yeah,
you
messing with your mind.
vaguely what's going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
So, in those vague terms, what do you think's going to happen? Given the context clues of, is Rose able to narrate this after she's died?
Yeah.
This is the story
Yeah.
of how I died. So is it a straightforward death?
Yes.
What's going on there? And also I'll ask the B side to the question of, when we move forward from Rose Tyler in the companion space, has David Tennant's 10th Doctor done enough to keep that through line in your mind going? Because obviously Rose was the through line from the ninth
Yeah.
Eccleston to the
Yeah.
10th Tennant.
Yeah.
So
I
has,
mean,
are we willing to go not only, with one companion, two doctors? Are we willing to now go one doctor, multiple companions in your mind?
y I mean, right now, I think I could get there because, Tennant has really endeared me through the course of this. So, um, yeah, I'm at a place where I'd be happy to move forward with him, especially if, you're telling me and what kind of most people I think have said it only gets better with him.
Yeah,
So,
it really does.
um yes, so that is something that this series has, set me up to be excited for. So I feel like I could be okay going forward with him without Rose, even though, like, I love him with Rose. I've just kind of
Yeah,
settled into really loving that their dynamic. So, but yeah, I mean, in hearing her say this narration about how she's going to die, of course, we hear that in, a very, overused kind of plot trope kind of thing in narration.
sure.
But of course, I'm still feeling these dire stakes, so I'm like, is she saying this, she's died, and come back in some other way to where she's not Rose Tyler anymore that forces her to leave the doctor? Or
Okay.
does she die and come back, and now it's a situation of the doctor is just too scared to lose her, having lost her, been able to bring her back in some way, but now this fear is looming that something could happen to her that extreme, that now that's how he severs ties. So it's like, even though we hear her giving this narration, so presumably she survives whatever happens in terms of death, um,
Mm,
there's still a speculation of fear because you know that she's not going to be there forever. and and
Okay.
the and the and the recent episodes have been kind of building to like reminding her of that, because even in this last episode she was saying, oh, we're going to be together forever, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
They have her saying lines like that, and him not giving her a definitive answer, saying, um we're never going to be apart, never say never, kind of things he says to her and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they are building to the severing of this relationship. So I'm still in a speculative mode, even though
Yeah.
we hear her talking about her death.
Okay. Okay. I mean, there's a fascinating line. I think it is from Army of Ghosts that I don't think I ever caught fully before, but it's made a point of the Doctor saying that he once was a dad, or he used to be a dad,
Yes.
and
Yes.
Rose not knowing what to do with that information for like 10 seconds. Like
And he says it so
really not knowing.
casually.
It says
Yeah.
it so casual, as though like, oh God, like you that serious and you don't even think about that anymore.
Yeah. I had a
How
child once and then just
disposable,
walks off. Yeah.
yeah, how disposable are other people to you, Doctor?
Yeah.
And that was really an emphasized little
Yeah,
point
that's true. Yeah.
of her thinking that. So again, it's all alluding to what I'm sure you're envisioning is going to end up happening. It's just how necessarily
Yeah.
this may happen. So I'm very, very interested to have you obviously watch the next episode after Army of Ghosts, Doomsday, and
Mhm.
see what you think about what does happen in Doomsday. Obviously, I know what happens in Doomsday. Doctor Who
Yes.
fans know what happens in Doomsday. It can be
Yeah, I have no clue.
is
Yeah.
referred to as a rather iconic episode of the
I
era.
can imagine. Yes. I mean,
So
I watched the little preview to see kind of, yeah, so it looks
yeah,
very,
okay,
very epic.
okay.
So, yeah.
But let's get it back into the episode properly. What do we think of Torchwood? Oh, do we have here another example of perhaps you'll always recognize someone in Doctor Who? Because we definitely do for me.
I mean, I recognize somebody who I kind of already know that's going to be in Doctor Who later. So I was like, "What?"
Yes, fair. Good point. Yes.
Because I knew there was like, because when I started Doctor Who, I had watching it all those years ago that I started, I had this whole plan to like get into it and watch all of them and da 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 da. And so I wanted to learn about Doctor Who. So I was watching things about the different companions and the different doctors. And so I know kind of some of the companions. And so when I saw this girl, I'm like, wait, doesn't she become the companion later? Like to this doctor? Huh? And so I'm like, is she
The
playing
answer
the
to that
same
question,
person?
Janine, yeah, the answer to that question, Janine, is yes, this actor does become the companion to the Doctor later.
Yeah.
No, she is not playing the same person
Okay.
here that becomes
No.
the companion. These are two different characters that both
Yeah.
happen to be played by Freema Agyeman, who is the ever delightful Martha Jones, who is great in Doctor Who. I don't remember what her name is in this episode because she's just a Torchwood
A
worker.
Torchwood. Yeah. Yeah.
A
So
pretty significant Torchwood worker, given what she ends up
doing.
finding and
Yeah.
luring other people into finding and
Yeah.
other such things.
Yeah.
So I like that we do have another installment of You'll Always Recognise Someone in Doctor Who
Yeah.
there, even if it's a little bit
Even if
lacking.
it's still Doctor Who.
Yes.
Even if you're
But,
recognizing them from Doctor Who.
yes, but we also have Yvonne Hartman, who is the head of Torchwood. If you have ever watched any breadth of British sitcoms, you will recognise. What is her name? I've forgotten her name. You will recognise her from a wealth of British sitcoms. She's very funny. She's very good. She plays Auntie Val in Friday Night Dinner. It's great. Yes. So there's always something there. I'm getting in
Yeah.
my own head because I'm trying to find out the poor woman's name,
Isn't it?
and I
Like her
can't
character,
find it now.
the
Tracy Ann
actress.
Oberman. Thank you,
Okay.
for God's sake. Tracy Ann Oberman. I'd forgotten her name. She is great.
Yeah.
But she is there as Yvonne Hartman, the leader of Torchwood,
Yeah,
and
she does a great job in this episode. Yeah.
she does. The
Yeah.
Doctor's learning all about Torchwood here and
Mhm.
how much influence and impact they've had since their creation by Queen Victoria, and obviously he is there. He finds himself there essentially as a well-treated prisoner because as Torchwood's kind of, modus operandi is if it's alien, it's
Alien, it's
ours.
ours. Yeah, he's, like, behind their motto, like, they know that he's kind of the one who has created what they've built because of his
Yeah.
existence. So, yeah, they are kind of treating him like this weird VIP prisoner. Um, but he's, like, in this situation, he's just kind of trying to learn as much as he can before, really, stepping out to stop anything. Um,
Yes.
and it's the Doctor kind of fun in a fun way teaming up with Jackie because Jackie is on the TARDIS when they leave, and he doesn't realize she's on there. Um,
Yeah, because
and
they just go back, don't they? They go back home for
yeah.
a bit of let's
Yeah.
go and see Jackie, let's go and see what's going on. We can
Yeah,
finally go
which was
home after a bit.
yes, which was already freaking me out because it opened so nicely, like, "Oh, cup of tea, I'm so happy to see you." It's, like, so nice and,
Yes.
reunion, and then, yeah, things
I
kinda
mean,
go
Jackie
crazy.
even kind of boldly kisses the Doctor quite
Yeah, and
firmly
he's just
as
like,
well, which is
"Woah."
strange.
Yes.
He doesn't
She's like,
like
"Come
that.
here," and, like, kisses him a bunch of times, and he's like, "Woah," and you see him, like, wipe his mouth and, like, make a face. But yeah, it opened way too chipper and happy for this to be, like, what this episode was going to turn into. But yeah, Jackie's on the TARDIS, and they don't realize she's on there. So, when they do get captured, they are fully aware, "We know you have a companion. Show us, who she is."
Yeah.
And so he pulls Jackie off and leaves Rose in the TARDIS as they, confiscate the TARDIS and take it somewhere.
Yeah.
Rose is still in it. Yeah. So that's how they get separated.
Yes, obviously, because they have to be separated. But
Yes.
ultimately, why are they being captured by Torchwood officers in the first place? They're being captured by Torchwood officers because Jackie comes out with the statement of, "Your granddad's coming to visit, Rose." What do you
Yeah.
mean? Granddad's been dead for
Been
10
dead
years.
for 10
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I know that. His ghost is coming. The ghosts are everywhere now. It's been like this for months. What
Yeah,
is
and they
going
come at
on?
a certain time every day. We look outside, we see these, like, black humanoid forms just hanging out with all these people.
Do you
Jackie's like,
care for the look of the ghosts in this particular episode? I mean, it's not like let's just have a transparent person, is it? It's a bit. It's more than that. I feel like it would have been better if it would have just been a transparent person. But then again, it's not supposed to be a transparent
A per
person.
yeah, it's not supposed to look like anybody, so I guess to have it just be this black, like, blank of a person, blank of a human form, once it's revealed, we don't we're not supposed to know what it is until a certain point in the plot, so, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't look particularly
Yeah.
great,
But they have the
but yeah.
ghost forecast on the news. They have ghost news. They have
Yeah, it's
ghost.
spread all over the world. Yeah, this is a worldwide thing. These things have been showing up. And just kind of funny that like everyone's just kind of on board with it. Like nobody's scared, nobody's freaking out. It's just kind
No,
of become
we get one line from Jackie, I think, which is like, "Oh yeah, everybody was terrified at first, but then we got used to it because it's like, don't you feel it? Like this is your granddad.
yeah, I
Like
can
these are our
smell like
loved
his
ones."
yeah, I can smell his cigar smell or whatever. Like she's,
Yeah,
having these sensory memories. Um and she has to have the doctor and will tell her, "No, like, we're not smelling any of that." It's kind of just
no, she's
preying on
dead.
your yeah, it's just kind of preying on your memory and your thoughts to make you think that this is somebody you know, but I don't really
Yeah,
think it is.
and this
And
is
they
when
come
the
at it
Doctor decides to turn into Peter Venkman. for 5 minutes.
Oh, yes, saying Ghostbusters. But yeah, like, they're very suspicious of this whole scenario, and especially because these things come at a scheduled time every day and
Yeah.
then leave, disappear, so it feels very much like somebody's controlling this. So that's when kind of the investigation begins.
Yes, and well, we see Torchwood controlling these ghost
Yeah,
shift,
mhm,
as they call it,
yeah,
don't don't we? And we also
yeah,
see Freema Agyeman's character in this episode. That's not Martha Jones, distinctly not Martha Jones.
okay,
Um, kind of have this office romance with some random guy, and they go off together in this disused area under renovation, under
yeah,
construction. There's all this plastic sheeting up.
yeah.
What's in the plastic sheeting, Janine?
Cyberman.
The Cyberman. Where's the Cyberman come from? What were you thinking when the Cyberman showed up? Were you thinking, what is a Cyberman doing here? This doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I was very confused because where they found the Cybermen was a place kind of in between time that they didn't even mean to go, that they said there was no
Yes.
way to leave or get back to. So, um, how is this another iteration of the Cybermen? Um, are,
And where
you
have they
know,
come from if it is?
exactly. So I was very confused. Um, in terms of like where they came from, how they got there, like did Torchwood find them and they're using them for some kind of thing?
Yeah,
So yeah, there were a lot of questions, but it was really kind of cool to see them again and be like, okay, this is going to be
yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
And what then ultimately about the reveal of where we get to from the Cyberman's point of view, which is that, well, it's all typically Doctor Who timey-wimey explained in terms of parallel universes stacked up on top of each other. You, Torchwood, have built this Torchwood Tower in order to get to this rift, essentially,
Yeah.
or this breakage in time, in space-time,
Mhm.
that's up. It was up at a random coordinate somewhere, but it is now essentially acting as this enormous blank white wall that is this breakage in space-time. And
Yeah.
it would seem that perhaps this is where these Cybermen have
Have come from this big
fallen through.
sphere. Yeah, it's this big kind of sphere thing that they
Oh, the
can't
big
get any.
sphere, the big sphere thing is one thing, but the do you recall the big white wall
Yes,
of
yeah,
it was yes.
yeah.
Pay attention to the big white wall. It's very, very
Oh my
important,
gosh.
the big white
Okay.
wall.
Okay.
Pay attention to it.
Okay.
That is the breakage in time. The sphere is something else entirely. We'll obviously get into
Yeah.
that. The sphere has nothing to do with the Cybermen at all. The Cybermen even say as much, that the sphere has
Yeah, they
nothing to do with
assume
them.
yeah, they assume because they can't read anything off of it, they don't know, it's like it's not there. So they're very kind of perplexed and confused by it, and then once this reveal of the Cybermen, comes about and reveal that all of these ghosts are not ghosts, these are Cybermen,
Yes,
um,
there are
they
Cybermen that are falling into this reality.
yes, so they
So they're
ask
not
the
quite
Cybermen.
fully manifested yet.
Yes, yeah, so they do ask the Cybermen about this sphere, "Is this, like, your ship? Is this how you got here?" And they're like, "Nope, that wasn't us." And you're like, "Wait, what?"
We do not know what the sphere is.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
is
so
the sphere?
we
Delete the
latched
sphere. They don't say delete the
we
sphere.
we latched on to somebody else's path. The
Yes.
we latched onto the sphere's path, so somebody else
That's
was
how we got
using.
here.
Yeah, and that's how we got here. Um,
Now,
so
now, we latched onto somebody else's path. We're getting ahead of ourselves because we need
yes,
to
yes.
talk about this whole thing about how they try to explain the sphere in the first place. This is a very mysterious object. The Doctor doesn't have any idea who
No.
or
Mm,
what this could be or how this could have been created, but he knows as much that it is a vessel of some kind, and
Yeah,
kind of a vessel for the place between space time, which is
yeah,
something that goes over my head completely. The
yeah,
void, it's referred to. True
yeah,
nothingness, no light, no dark, no up, no down, no down, nothingness. Yet this
yeah,
vessel can travel through that
yeah,
somehow
yeah.
to between universes, physics, Doctor Who. Just roll with it. Don't worry about the continuity.
Yeah, oldie
Basically,
wobbly. Yeah,
is what we
yeah,
have to do here. But it brings up the point that, okay, well, this is a seriously massive deal then,
yeah,
because what on earth is it? And especially when we learn, obviously that's quite late on when it's the full reveal of the ghosts of the Cybermen and all this business. But especially when we learn that the Cybermen don't have any knowledge of it, and they were just following it through because that was
yeah,
the way through.
yeah,
What on earth could it be? What on earth is it?
yeah.
Nobody in Torchwood has any idea. And Torchwood,
No,
okay, they're just regular British people, but they, with very over British ideology as well. It's all about like, oh yes, Britain is great. Yes, we love Britain.
yeah.
Relax, Torchwood. Why is it all about that? Why is it all? What if Germany was under threat from alien? Would you not go and help?
Yeah.
Does it have to be just British
Oh, yeah,
focused?
to protect
I'm
them
sure the
from these things,
third
yeah.
Doctor. I'm sure I recall the third Doctor saying something. I say I recall, like I've ever watched much of anything of the third Doctor, John Pertwee from the early 70s. I should. I should watch classic Doctor Who.
Yeah,
I
I
really,
mean,
really should.
you're a true
It's
Brit, you
different.
should.
Look, it's a different beast. It's a far different format of television. It's
Yeah,
like a serial where
yeah,
you have like 6 episodes are one story
yeah.
and things like that. I'd love to delve into it. It's a daunting beast. Is
Yes,
classic
I'm sure.
Doctor
Yeah,
Who at the moment.
yes.
But there's a good clip of the third Doctor that does the rounds all the time, and he's having an argument with some nationalistic man, and he's saying, kind of, England for the English. Good heavens, man. Well, I have a duty to my country. Do you not have a duty to the world? Says the Doctor. It's
Yeah.
like, yes, this is my entire mentality. Like, Torchwood,
Yeah.
why focus just on
But,
Britain?
just
Expand
exactly. Yeah.
yourself.
Yes. So yeah, nobody knows what this thing is. And yeah, Torchwood is highly focused on, one specific thing. And the fact that the doctor doesn't even know what this thing is just kind of terrifying.
Yeah,
um, Especially because like we think the big bad of this episode is the Cybermen, and the fact that they're saying "Yeah, we
but
don't
yeah,
know."
exactly.
Like,
The cyber. Okay, it would make sense. Bring the
yeah.
Cybermen back for another big finale. We
Yeah.
killed them halfway through the season.
Yeah, and those were
Very
kind of
interesting turns.
big episode.
Let's
Yeah.
also point out, look who else we have coming back in this episode as well.
Yes. Yes.
Mickey's found his way back through. I
Yeah.
did tell you it wouldn't be the last you would see of Mickey Smith
I didn't think it
in
would
that
be.
Cyberman two-parter.
Yes, but love that he kind of has his own missions past, Rose and the Doctor, and he's doing kind of his own thing after the choice that he made in that
Yeah,
other, Cybermen episode. So, um, yeah, fun to see him pop up here, especially in a situation where Rose does need help because she ends up kind of dressing like a scientist there
yeah,
and, tries to kind of walk around and get through, to figure out what's going on. And she walks into the room with the sphere and she tries to show that like magic paper or whatever that says whatever you need it to say with your credentials.
yes, the
But
sidekick.
I guess yes, but the Torchwood people are like, we have been trained with psychic abilities so we can see that this is blank. And so he's ready to like detain her, but then Mickey just turns around right behind him and is ready
Yeah,
to help Rose in the situation and shoot.
yes,
He has a gun that he's made to shoot whatever is coming out of the sphere. So Rose is dealing with that on one end while the doctor is kind of being faced with the reveal of the return of the Cybermen. So
Yes. And like I said, it would have made perfect sense to bring the Cybermen back as, I mean,
mhm,
it does. The finale, this finale does bring the Cybermen back for
yeah.
a finale
Mhm.
monster spectacle. This
Yeah,
is what we get in
yeah.
Doomsday ultimately next time out. But it also brings something else back and something we haven't seen
Mm.
all series. Um,
Yeah.
and you know what? It could have done it in my opinion. It actually could have done it in a little bit of a better way. I do think series one deals with Doctor Who's most famous monster in a better way than series two does. Because okay, we barely get them in series two. They're here now.
Yeah.
They're at the end. They're
Yeah.
there. Okay. And going forward, maybe
I'm
sometimes
sure
they're
we'll
they're
see them.
good, maybe sometimes they're not great. I genuinely don't think they've ever been better than in series
Oh,
one,
yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
a weird thing that kind of happens. Their
Yeah.
first appearance in the whole era
And
is
modern
definitely
yeah,
the
era.
best episode with them in it,
Yeah.
and there's only
Yeah.
one of them in that, obviously.
Yeah.
I do think they could have revealed it a little bit better, though.
Okay.
Them come out, obviously, we know what we're alluding to here. Obviously, all I wanted was the sphere to open and not just to be like, oh, let's fly out and let's see each other. All I need is the POV from within the eye and just someone somewhere saying, Doctor,
Um,
Doctor. That's all I
yeah.
want.
Yes. I
I
think
don't
yeah, I could
need flying around. I don't need 3 of them coming out. I don't need exterminate, exterminator. I just want calm Daleks, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think that probably would have played far more interestingly and ominous and kind of a fun surprise reveal of this surprise.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it still worked, but I think your way does sound like it would have worked better.
Like, we
Kind of
don't need
seeing
to
the
see the physical
yeah, the
Dalek. We just need
voice is
to see
so
the
distinct.
POV and the voice.
Yeah, the voice is so distinct that I think that would have worked. But even then, it's like I think particularly in this episode, the Cybermen sounded a little too much like them as well. So I was like,
The
maybe
cadence is the same. This is my thing, I think, with the Daleks and the Cybermen, is the Daleks obviously have a very distinct tone in
yeah,
their
yeah.
voice, but their cadence is very, "We talk like this is what we do," and the Cybermen also talk like this is how the Cybermen talk. It's
It's
the
like the
same
same
pattern.
shaky, petulant kind of
It is.
cadence,
It
but
is.
lower register. So in the scene when we see the Cyberman that was found in that like abandoned area of the building, kind of,
Yes.
this girl's taking people there to kind of have them be taken over. It says something that sounds very much a little too similar to the Dalek voice.
I mean, did you
Um,
think the Daleks might show up before the Daleks showed up? I'd like to ask that question. Did you
as
think we
soon
had anything Dalek?
as soon as they learn that the Cybermen were not the ones responsible for the sphere, that they followed another entity
Yes.
along, and as soon as that door opened, I said, "No, no," like aloud, and then here come floating out like 4
Yes.
Daleks. So, like, I literally don't think I realized until they said, "Oh, it wasn't us," like, "It wasn't us,"
Yeah.
and then
Well,
and
of
then the
course,
door
that's the point.
opened. Yes, and then the door opened, and I was literally like, "It's not gonna be. It's gonna
But
be. I
just think
think
how
it's
much
gonna
better it would
be."
have been if you'd have just got the eye POV and the voice.
Um, yeah, I think that would have worked a lot better, but it still got a reaction out of me, so
It did. Well, yeah, I mean, that
yeah,
is that is where we end that
yeah,
episode. It's so wild, isn't it, when you have like these episodes back to back, is you can see that the the budgetary quality that goes into Army of
Yeah,
Ghosts in comparison
yeah.
to
They're
Fear
like, "Where
Her.
can
You
we
see
scrimp and save so that we can do
yeah,
something bigger here? And we definitely need to reserve for our finale,
yeah,
so we're gonna have 2 really low budget kinda things, all to save our budget for the finale."
and it's it feels big, it feels grand,
Mhm.
it feels
Yeah.
serious, it
Mhm,
feels
mhm. Like,
there's
there's stakes
there's
here, yeah.
there's stakes here, there's heavy sci-fi concepts here
Mhm.
about kind of the scientific the parallel universes thing, the breakages in space-time and all
Mhm.
this kind of stuff that Doctor Who's so very familiar with. There's
Yeah.
all this. You're getting your big villains back, and this only is bigger in
Yeah.
Doomsday next time out. I did distinctly point in planning diving into Doctor Who. Of course, Doomsday has its own episode all on its own. By the way,
Okay.
there's not a second episode we're talking about, so which would be
Okay.
the Christmas special,
Yeah.
which is a good Christmas special. It's a very good Christmas special.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. It's a very interesting, very exciting Christmas special, but that comes ultimately at the start of our series 3
Okay.
discussions of
Okay.
diving into Doctor Who. Um, because I just felt like Doomsday needed an episode
To be
all on its own because
focused
of
on it. Okay.
everything that happens in it.
Mhm.
Really,
Okay. Eee.
you're essentially in for a war between the Daleks and the Cybermen.
Yeah, well, I mean, even in that preview, there's a mention of them potentially teaming up, so I'm like, "Oh, no, this sounds terrible."
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's a team up that becomes a war between them.
Or
It
and
becomes a
then
little bit
I'm
of a
sure
three-way war,
okay, okay. Ugh,
and it's like
that's a lot.
everybody's fighting everybody else and trying to
Yeah.
team up with it's a mess,
Okay.
obviously.
Okay.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
It takes something particularly powerful to
To resolve
stop it,
somehow. Mhm.
to
Okay.
resolve it, but the Daleks are back. If
Yeah.
only for a couple of episodes, one episode
Okay.
only, really.
Yeah.
Um, but it's always exciting because it means I get to speak like a Dalek, and I always enjoy speaking like
I
a
know.
Dalek.
You're very good
And
at it.
it
You're
means
way
I
better than me.
get to ask you to do the Dalek countdown as
No,
well,
so I'm like,
which
"You should do it. I think you should do it." You just established that you
is
are
disappointing.
you just established
I've
you're way
spent
better than me.
years practicing my Dalek voice.
Yes, that's why I'm setting you up right now to do the countdown.
Well, it's not time for it yet. I think I've asked you all the questions I wanted to ask you
Yes.
anyway
Yeah.
about in relation to Army of Ghosts and how you think it will set up Doomsday. But as a part one of a finale, it does such a good
It d
job in my
it
eyes
does.
of being that setup
Mhm.
of having stakes within itself as well. Sure,
Yeah.
having kind of serious things going on within itself, the essential capture of the
Mhm.
Doctor that kind of happens here
Yeah.
before Torch would realize that something a little bit more serious is going on than just having the Doctor here, and he
Yeah.
actually will probably be able to help us.
Yeah.
Um, but learning about all the colliding parallel universe, the fact
Mhm.
that we're getting that Cybermen parallel universe smacking into this one,
Yeah.
and seeing Mickey back, getting the Cybermen coming across, getting the reveal of the Daleks at the end
Mhm.
is is a great episode, a very ominous episode,
Yeah.
and a very well acted episode as well. And like we
Definitely.
said, not without its comedy. The Doctor
Yeah.
does pretend to be a Ghostbuster
Which,
early
you know,
on
I love that,
and
so
and literally sings and starts doing this funny dance thing with his
yeah.
backpack on and his little fake Hoover thing that he's got,
Yeah.
pretending to be
Yeah.
a Ghostbuster.
Yes.
In setting up the trap for the ghosts to find out where they've come
What
from, thus leading
yeah.
to Torchwood.
To reveal, yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
But yes,
Yeah, great setup.
all
Excited.
more to come in Doomsday next time out on diving into
Uh,
Doctor Who. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Of course, this is very much not the only thing we have on the It's a Wonderful podcast feed. We have just recently finished investigating It Welcome to Derry. Obviously, there's only one season of that show out at the moment. We will return to that for its season 2, whenever that may be. But that does leave us here on a Monday on our TV-based shows to return to discovering Dawson's Creek in the alternate weeks, to diving into Doctor Who. And that's very exciting, isn't it? Nice.
Yes.
Will be nice to be back, but not really in Cape Side, because everybody's gone off.
College time.
Dawson's Creek, the college years, as we refer to it. But it will be nice to be back with Dawson's Creek, with Discovering Dawson's Creek, as we say, alternating every Monday with, at the moment, obviously, diving into Doctor Who here. Morgan Hasn't Seen is there every Wednesday as well, currently on an alien invasion series. Very appropriate for Doctor Who, given the Daleks like a good invasion, don't they? We should do a Dalek move. We should do one of the Dalek movies. Invasion of the Daleks from the 60s.
Oh my goodness.
You know, there's Doctor Who movies from the 60s that are just totally
I want to say you maybe mentioned that to me.
We've done one of them on the main show in the past, Doctor Who and the Daleks from 65, I think, with Peter Cushing as Doctor Who.
Okay.
It's totally different. It's not. It's really weird. It's like he's like not remotely the same sort of character.
Format.
It's basically just he's Doctor Who. Like, he's not called the Doctor, he's called Doctor Who. And that's Doctor Who, not spelt like Doctor Who is spelt, you know, with the full word Doctor. It's just DR Who.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And he's got like a daughter, and the TARDIS is there, and the Daleks are there. It's just an excuse for the Daleks because it's a rights issue. I believe we spoke about the Daleks.
Yeah, rights. I want to say you mentioned it. Yeah. When they first appeared, I think came up.
Yes, in talking about the episode Dalek in series 1, I think we spoke a little bit about the fiddly issues with the Daleks' rights. But that's very interesting. We could do that as an alien invasion movie, but we're not doing that on Morgan Hasn't Seen. We're doing different
aliens. Yeah,
and obviously. On the main show as well on a Friday, celebrating old movies like we love to do the most over there. We are currently celebrating the immortal Paul Newman. We love him dearly over on the main show, having a whole big 5-episode series looking at some very big career highlights from Paul Newman and delving deep into those movies. That is very exciting as well. Do subscribe wherever you are listening to this episode today on all podcast platforms. If you are watching us today on Diving into Doctor Who, do subscribe and ding the notification bell on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel. And if you're not watching us, go over and do that anyway. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? But leave your comments on Spotify and rate, review, like, and share wherever you are. If you would like to support us on Patreon or donate in any way, you can find links in the description to go ahead and do that. Or, of course, you can find us on and across all the social medias on the app formerly known as Twitter and on Blue Sky at It's a Wonderful One. Find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at the Purple Dawn with a 3 instead of the E in there because, Jeannine.
3 is a magic number.
On Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at the Purple Dawn. All your Daleks are where
you could find me, Jeannine Devine _ Yes. You can find me, Jeannine Devine _ on Twitter, Jeannine Devine on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And if you want to get any merch for any of our shows, just check the description for the link or search G9 Design on tpublic.com.
Well, there we go. It does leave only one thing left to do, doesn't it? And if you must insist.
Yes, do it.
If you really must insist, I will do it. Okay. 3, 2, 1, Doctor!
It's very good. Bye. Yeah, yeah, yeah.